Hello, viewers around the world. You are welcome to yet another edition of our program, our Monday Starters. It's a lively update conversation program called Between the Lines. And I'm here, Godwin Iwejo in Milan, Italy. Joining me also from Lagos, Nigeria is Ogbeni Raji Rasaki. Raji Olayinka. How are you, Ogbeni Raji?
Good
I
evening,
remember the
Mark.
governor of Lagos State.
Yeah, good evening, Mark. And good evening, viewers around the world. Welcome to our Monday program.
Yes, welcome, Raji. I know you remember Raji Rasaki too, the military governor.
He made our name famous,
Yes,
Raji
he
famous.
made that name famous.
I
Also
didn't want to
joining
say
us,
notorious.
yeah, no, he wasn't notorious. Also joining us in far away, not close to me anyway, London, the United Kingdom, is Fiona, Lady Fiona Akano. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you, viewers, for joining in.
Thank you for coming too. Um,
Good evening,
uh,
Fiona.
gen-
Good evening, Sarah.
Gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
Raji and Fiona, like you know, this is our program, our Monday starters, week starters, where we give these lively updates. We converse with ourselves and we refresh the minds of our viewers that are scattered around the world. So we are on to Between the Lines, and it's 6th of May, 2024. 6th of May is bank holiday for some countries in Europe. But Nigeria and some other countries had their Labor Day on the 1st of May.
Yes, yes.
Fiona, how are you enjoying the bank holiday? We see you look fresh. Slept so well.
Well, it's just an opportunity to relax and spend time with family and friends and just get ready for the week, really. So, yeah,
Get ready for the week. So tomorrow you hit the road. Boom.
sure.
Ah, for sure. Okay, somebody hitting the road for us, gentlemen. We are going to do something today. What we're doing is we're going to discuss the issues. There are news updates, but I want us to go deeper in looking at all angles of each of those updates. So somebody that is hitting the road now as president is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar has become a whistleblower. Uh, Somehow, he's also giving out some, because it takes a thief to catch a thief. Is that not so, Raji?
Well, more or less.
More or less. Okay. Anyway, Atiku Abubakar has said that awarding that contract of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Way was done in a rush. And he says, demolishing some businesses also for that construction of that road doesn't send a good signal to investors into our country, into Nigeria. Now, the first word we're taking note of is the contract was done in a rush. It was given out in a rush. Now, he broke it down. And what he said is, like you all know, Raji, like you know too, a company owned by Gilbert Shaguri. Gilbert Shaguri is the parent firm, the parent company that is handling the contract for that coastal road. And now Gilbert Shaguri has the son of the president, the sitting president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's son, Sheyi Tinubu, as one of the board members of the company of Gilbert Shaguri. And take note that normally, viewers, those of you watching, normally when there is a project, what they do is they bring bidding, they bring different investors, different contractors, and everybody gives out their bidding, their, estimation, da 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 da. But in this case, it's not done so. So let me start with Fiona. Fiona, the road from Calabar to Lagos to Calabar, and what Atiku is telling us.
Right. So I don't think that what Atiku is expressing is something that is particularly foreign to majority of Nigerians. So what he's saying does not sound particularly strange. I think with any contract anywhere in the world, there should be some kind of tender process. even if the tender is not open, at least we should start to understand the major players in the tender at a certain point. So the fact that this has all happened in breakneck speed is obviously something for us to shine a torch on. Of course, we know that over the years, this is a project that has been kind of been in the making for many, many years. So the argument could be that, well, this is something that's been agreed a long time ago. So we just decided rather than to talk, we'll be doing it. The other thing that we need to shine a light upon is this Sheyi Tinubu's latest position within this firm. Really, it kind of stinks. So if we're just looking at it on the on the merits of the case, etc., it sounds and it looks a bit not very straightforward that the current president's son would be on the board. It just all of it just kind of it just feels a bit uncomfortable. Even for any people that are looking to invest in Nigeria, I think I've said it and I've said it time and time again that I don't know what it will look like for somebody to junk $140 million project to make way for this what is, I understand, a 15 trillion naira project. We haven't seen, we don't understand the cost. We don't know what the markers are. We don't know anything about the smart things that have been put in place. We don't know how it's going to be measured. We don't know anything. We just know that 15 trillion naira is going to go down the drain somewhere, and we have no understanding of what's going on. So of course, this is something that should be concerning every single Nigerian without exception.
Something that should be concerning every single Nigerian without exception. And without exception, we have our man, George Chuku from Toronto, Canada. George, can you hear us? We see you in the car.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you. Good. You're
Yeah,
welcome, George.
I heard your discussion concerning the situation happening in Nigeria with the Lagos-Calabar road.
Yes, George, yes. That's it. We started by saying we have a new whistleblower in town. And I asked Raji, I said, it takes a thief to catch a thief, It's a thief that knows how the other thieves cooperate. So, and Raji said, yes, somehow. So, but the discussion is Atiku has become the new whistleblower, and he's saying a lot. Yesterday till this morning, the man has been dropping a lot of information that people are, wide mouth open. Now, Fiona just broke it down. One of the things he said, George, is that number one, the contract was given in a hush-hush way. George, you are a businessman. We all know that contracts are not just something you just say, hey, you come. I mean, when it's federal government contract, you don't just pick somebody and say, you do this. You put it out, bidders come, everybody, the best price, the best amount or expenditure or a reasonable thing is the one that you probably consider. But in this case, the man just said, hey, Shaguri, run this deal for us. And everybody's
well, in government, usually there are loopholes, and there are things that they do, and this is one of those type of things, where they can attach a particular amount of money that can be used, they use it to siphon money from our revenue. So when you have a contract like this one, and part of the problem, the suspicion right here is that, the measure by which these things are, the processes is not very clear. There is a whole lot of questions that are around, coming from different areas regarding the speed in which this is being done, the reason why they did not go with the original plan and then change the plan in order to, go through the beach. And those are the things. Atiku is doing his constitutional job as an opposition. It takes a thief to catch a thief. But in this particular situation, they all know how they kill and how they chop. And that's exactly what this is, because from the way you're seeing what is our 15 trillion naira is being budgeted for this one. Another one is also forthcoming. When you see all of these happening simultaneously, these are the ways where trillions upon trillions of naira will be siphoned out of our revenue, out of our pockets, without even knowing it. So, there are ways of them doing this. And when they use a project like this, that's one of those ways. You saw Omar, he came out last week and started talking nonsense and couldn't even answer questions when one of the ladies.
Yeah, John, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Let me come to Raji. Raji, one of the things he said is also, and I wish we could also get Atiku on this platform. Raji, if you can do that, it won't be a bad idea. Let's hear him directly. He can come to this platform and tell Nigerians in diaspora what he's saying out there. Raji, he said Tinubu's son sits on the board of Gilbert Shaguri's construction company. Now that board selection was done last month, like we all saw. Sheyi Tinubu was announced as a board member. Raji, what do you think is playing out from your own perspective? I like how you say things. Go ahead.
I've always said that this award was a Padi award. Yeah, so now it is the time for Shaguri and Tinubu have always been in business. They are in business together. That's how Shaguri took over Eko Hotels, which originally belonged to Lagos State, and they are in charge of Eko Atlantic, which is also a humongous practice. Now, coming to Sheyi being on the board of Shaguri, it clearly shows a conflict of interest. If you are, as a president, you are awarding a contract to a company which involves your son, then there's something you are not telling the people. But apart from that, the more galling of the whole process is that a government has budgeted 15 trillion naira for a coastal road. And I have a few questions. Must it be a coastal? Because if it's a coastal road, you are passing it through the coast. And most times along the coast, you hardly have too many dense population.
Okay.
Then this is going to pass through mangroves. By the time you leave Lagos State, you are going to mangroves, which all these areas are sparsely populated. But then look at the humongous amount of money that is being used to build a road, whether it's a coastal road or a heavenly road. It is a road. It doesn't add to anything.
It doesn't add to anything. Right,
yes.
Let's bring in our wonderful coordinator from, it's been long we heard from her, Nyema Benson. How are you? You're welcome to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Between the Lines. Thank you so much.
Long time no see.
Yes, long time no see indeed.
Welcome back.
You know, you're doing your thing there, your school, your teaching, and all you're doing. Anyway, but we also know you're following up what's happening in our country, Nigeria. And we also would like to hear some updates from Turkey. Some things happened during the week from Turkey. So, gentlemen, let's come back to more discussion. That's it. That's the sad thing going on. Like I said, maybe we could get Atiku to come tell Nigerians in diaspora more of this.
Sorry, can I just interject something?
Oh, go ahead.
One thing that Sir Raji is always mentioning is this 15 trillion naira, and it is actually very galling because, not in a bad way, but I've traveled by road in Nigeria recently, and to be quite honest, I think that 15 trillion naira would be better placed fixing the current infrastructure we have as roads than creating a whole brand new road when we have a perfectly capable road of taking people from Lagos to Calabar. That's just my feeling, that instead of investing this money in a brand new road, why can we not make all the roads in Nigeria currently fit for purpose?
To add to that, I think, sorry, Mark, I think what is going to happen is that that's why they had to start from Lagos. Is that they'll just fix the Lagos end of it, because after the Lagos end, there's hardly any traffic on that road.
Crazy.
On the existing road as we have it today, 90% of the traffic is on the Lagos side. It's on the Lagos side. From Lagos to on the current road that we have. If you travel on that road, it is scanty. By the time you leave the old western region, you cross Asaba.
You know that.
There's hardly
and a lot of
there's hardly any traffic.
And a lot of the traffic
sorry,
and a lot of that traffic is actually caused by the bad roads. So actually,
yes.
So the traffic that we're even finding is the bad roads that's causing it. It's not even as though it's
that's slowing down traffic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raji. Thank you, Fiona. Fiona, that pivotal point you gave out was real strong. Why not use the money, this whole 15 trillion, to amend or repair these damaged bad roads? I mean, we saw the other one where the trailer got stuck in the muddy water. And
do you want to know the reason why that is not being done?
That's a trunk B road. That's a trunk B road.
Do you know the reason? Do you know the reason why that is not being done?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand the modus operandi of this government and the rest and the past governments. The reason why it's not being done is you can feasibly see the roads being fixed and money being spent, and eventually what will happen is that tactics and the strategy that they have to impoverish the nation and make sure that everybody is at a dire beggarly mentality and beggarly state will not, you will not give them the kind of money that they want. They can't steal from there, because you will see the money being spent on different parts of the country, different roads, creating jobs, but they don't want to do that. But to get a budget 15 trillion naira on this particular road that is, that's not going to be even, I can guarantee you, like what Raji just said, once they finish that part of a Yoruba land portion, that will be the end of it. But that money has already been budgeted for this. And it is not like, when it is budgeted, that money will be taken out of the account. Sometimes, they might even just take that whole money and say that it's being paid to the contractors. And that money is not being paid to anybody, because there is under the table type of situation that is happening. That is our country there. So that's why the former vice president knew, he understands the system and know that's how they steal. That's why he's crying out. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Sir George, the money is paid. It's paid. It's not paid for the job. It's paid, and they take it. They know who they are paying.
They know where they're paying.
They know they pay themselves,
and then thank you, gentlemen. Like we said earlier, today we are going deeper in every topic we bring. Let's really break it down like you guys are doing now, and I like that. Yes, gentlemen, ladies, Lagos state government and some states are doing something called illegal demolition, breaking down houses, crackdown on illegal structure, they call it. But what we are seeing so far from our corner here is that they are plunging more people into trouble, poverty. They are creating more chaos, more problems for themselves, because people say they are not giving notice before this evacuation, before this demolition. They come on you, they tell you, we're coming 2 hours, they bring the big cranes and break down houses, break people's houses. Gentlemen, we want to talk about this. These are our people. Now, Fiona and I were saying some things earlier back end in the studio. We said, the government has the money to build small unit houses in every state of Nigeria. Small unit houses, and give it out in a very reduced amount. These people pay and have a place to stay. I mean, a place over your head, it matters a lot. It matters, Now, because there are no housing provision, nothing of sort, these people find themselves sleeping in different corners, under the bridge, I mean, nobody wants to be in such condition, but it is how life has boxed them. And now they are being taken out, houses broken, their things scattered. Gentlemen, let's start with Inyema. Inyema, I don't know, are you following those news? Tell us,
Sure,
how do you
definitely.
feel seeing those things? Houses
If
broken.
you,
Right.
it's such a bad time for them to, is a very bad timing, considering the economy of the country right now. It's a bad timing to start breaking houses and laying people off, like making them, getting them to be on the street. Such a bad timing. And also, I do not think that the government didn't give them notice. I think they gave them notice. You know, the normal Nigerians, there'll be someone in the office that will say, "Don't worry, I can fix this. Just give me this amount of money. I'm going to make sure." What I'm saying is, I've experienced this. My family house in River State, that happened. A land was bought, and the land was already in the court, and someone had to resell that land for us to build on it. So imagine someone bribing an already existing matter just to frame other people. So I think that's what happened. I think there should be a ministry that should be able to check these things, not to give out land. I'm sure there's a title of deed, I think, when giving out land. So if Nigeria have this in place, I think people won't be buying lands places that are already against the government, like that should not be built on.
All those things are in place.
Yes, thank you, Yema. Now we're looking at two things here, guys. Number one is the illegal, the destructions and breaking down of houses, houses. Then the other one is people that are being driven out of bridges, under the bridge, and what necessitated that? Why are people living under the bridge? Why are people staying in squalor-like environment? Why are people going through this? And these are citizens of a country. So Fiona, let's hear you too. Tell us. That's a picture of people carrying out, trying to take their things under the bridge. Now, not one, not two, there are hundreds of Nigerian citizens sleeping under the bridge for no reason. I mean, it's unheard of. You don't do this to your people. Fiona, let's hear you.
I mean, first of all, my heart really goes out to anybody that's been affected by this current spate of, homes being destroyed for many reasons. I mean, obviously, when you start creating a shanty town within a city, obviously that's a very concerning situation. The thing that I've never been able to really understand, and I think Nyema kind of spoke to it, is that the permissions for these properties to be built, except if they are maniacs, that permission was received from somewhere. What needs to happen is that the chain of action that has happened all the way from the purchase of the land to the house being built is what needs to be investigated. Because if there are people purporting to be in government, etc., who are giving people permission to build in places that they are not supposed to build in, they are the ones that should be being held to account. They are the ones that should be facing the full extent of the law, not people who have just innocently rented apartments, built, etc. So that's kind of my first view on this particular issue. Secondly, I will never be an advocate that people build houses on floodplains or places where it's going to create a problem with drainage, so we have floods everywhere. Absolutely, categorically, I wouldn't be somebody that would want to align with that kind of thinking. However, if there are buildings that have been built and it is the problem is the fact that the planning permission has some kind of issue, I believe if they are not going to cause any kind of environmental problem, there should be a system of giving a backdated planning permission, even if it's going to be a way of raising revenue, even if it's going to cost 3 times what it would have, whatever the case, there should be a way that for things that are not damaging the environment, floodplains, drainage, there should be a way to post-date their planning permission so that these structures can be left to stand. anything wasteful is really of the devil. The idea that somebody will build a structure and then it's just demolished, and when I even look at how they're demolishing them, it's almost disrespectful what's happening. These are people's hard-earned money and sweat.
Thank you, Fiona. Fiona, George and Reggie, before you guys speak, let's listen to. There's a young lady called Yemi Alade, and she's taking the social media today on fire. She's blowing it up because she's coming out and talking about exactly what we're saying. So let's hear this Afrobeat artist, Yemi Alade, speak on this.
Lagos State, what is going on? What is going on? Does it make sense that people will invest millions of naira, millions of dollars into real estate, buy houses, buy land? And Lagos State will go and be breaking walls, breaking houses, rendering people homeless overnight. And it is done serially. It's done back to back. Right now, Maryland, Mende area is on fire. People are sleeping in their houses, waking up the next day homeless. You are ruining the real estate value of the country, ruining the real estate value of Lagos, making people lose trust not only just in the idea of Nigeria, but lose hope entirely in the little coins they've saved to make their life worthwhile, to create some kind of generational wealth. How is this okay? And why? Does it make sense? Why did? Oh my God, multi-million-dollar houses. Look, there is a better way to do things.
There's a better way to do this. George, when I went to how to build a house in Nigeria, I saw that there are steps taken, and these people, most of them said they followed the step. Like Fiona and Yemi Alade just said, these houses were not just built overnight. They got permit from the local government. They got the deeds and all those papers. And do you know something? After building, they say the government people come to inspect and say, okay, now go ahead and begin to live. You have a home. And all of a sudden, we woke up in 2024, all of those thing has passed out. I mean, now your house is illegal structure. Break it down, scatter it. George, let's hear you.
Well, this is a targeted demolition, whether we like it or not. It's being targeted because, the governor of Lagos State better be careful, because what's going to happen is he's going to leave a legacy of being a demolition government where there is no human face, no human compassion to decisions being made. And then, quite necessarily, I believe that what needs to happen is what Fiona was talking about. We need to investigate, find out who gave the permission, where was the certification, when was it done, by who, through which government, because you cannot put any structure down without local government will be involved. I just was doing a renovation in my father's house at Onisha. I know how much I had to pay the local people. If you don't do it, once you put the sign there, they will show up. So you continue to pay them. Then all the way to all the government stages are being involved in anything that you do, including when you buy the land, when you put a foundation, everything. So this is just pure wickedness, but they're just doing it because they feel like they can. All I have to say is they better be careful, because the evil that men do lives after them. That's all I can say. Because number one is somebody gave permission, somebody gave certification, somebody did everything, and you just targeted certain group of people or certain places to demolish. If you go to Lekki phase 1 and phase 2, most of the structures there did not go through the same processes these people went through, and even if they did, they are not completely 100% legal. But you're targeting certain areas and demolishing these poor people that just put money together to put a roof over their head. I don't know about Buhari government. They better be careful.
Thank you.
No,
George, one thing
government.
you note is, yes, Reggie, I'm coming. George, it's not only Lagos. So Port Rivers is going through the same. Abuja is going through the same. And some states are all experiencing this early morning breakdown, demolition, early mornings, pulling down people's homes. And we heard what Yemi Alade have said. Raji, let's hear you too. You are in Lagos, and you probably see some of this.
I'm always saddened when I see demolitions going on. I know that there are rules But rules are made for men, not men for rules. And there's nothing that it should be so sacrosanct as that. You realize that most of these people who are very happy at demolitions have never put two penny together to do any investment in their lives. They are mentally poor. They are wicked beasts that take joy. If you see what is going on so many social media about the support for these demolitions, and I ask them, I agree that they might have been given notice, and I align with what Sir George and Sister Fiona have said. Before you put one block on top of the other, there are processes you have to go through. You can't just move onto one land and start building without the local authority being aware of every stage. So why is it that now after the building has been completed and you see a beautiful edifice, and because of past road or whatever, you are now going to demolish that building with all the millions that have been spent on it? It is insane. It is devilish. It is pure wickedness.
It is insane. It is insane.
Something.
Okay. Now, Yama, the commissioner for environment and waters in Lagos State, they call him Tokunbo Wahib, reacted to what the people were saying. People were saying a lot. He said that number one is that a lot of those buildings are illegal structures. Number one. He said number two, that they gave out notice before those buildings were taken down. But we are hearing otherwise from most of the occupants of those buildings. Nyama, tell us, will this happen in a sane country? Raji just talked about insanity. I mean, wickedness of man. Will this happen in Turkey? Will you wake up one morning and say, "We're taking down this home, get out, get out"? Tell us.
It definitely will. It cannot happen in Turkey. Definitely.
So, what are the processes to that? How does it happen in the modern, in a civilized society?
In Turkey, before something like that would happen, the government should have given an alternative, like another houses where these people move in. I remember when the earthquake happened. I know what the government did. Like, they made sure they gave them houses. They were displaced people. They were displaced from their homes through natural disaster. They gave them houses. So it will never happen in Turkey. I can even see where people were moved from under the bridge. Yes, and they were arresting them. Like, these are homeless people. You're arresting them for what exactly? Did they come to steal? Every country has homeless people. I know in Turkey here, homeless people are being paid monthly. So, like, they're paid because they are homeless. But in Nigeria, in my dear country, they're arresting homeless people for being homeless. I mean, it can never happen here. I really sympathize with people. Like, I felt bad. And there were children watching their parents being molested for being poor. Like, it's going to live with them for a long time. For them to say, I was living, like, no. Like, my heart was broken. Seriously, my heart was broken to say that. Why are you arresting these people, for God's sake? What did they do for being homeless? Everything is, of course, are not equal. Everybody cannot be rich. I think the government, it cannot happen in the same country.
It cannot happen in the same country. Gentlemen, we all stand together and condemn this whole thing. If structures are illegal, let it be done properly. First of all, we've all concluded here that how did it all suddenly become illegal when it went through? It went through stages before they were constructed, and now in 2024, that thing is illegal. Sitting on another man's land, sitting in a way. A coastal line way. Can you imagine? Coastal line all of a sudden.
Did you see a very white, beautiful house that was built in 2023 December? The man said he got the deeds of assignment, everything from the government. The land was surveyed, and that was he said he has saved this money for a long time to make a home, and just of recent the house was being demolished. How would this man feel? When will he start again to save for something like that? Like,
it is pure wickedness. Pure wickedness.
I saw the video. The man,
pure wickedness.
Very, very. Okay.
I'm sorry. Can I just say something? And the thing is that we don't have any pastoral care in Nigeria. I can't see how there's going to be any kind of support for the mental health of people that are going through this trauma. This is trauma. I mean, what they're doing to people, I didn't even realize they were arresting them. In this country, if you leave your dog outside, you can get in trouble. But if in Nigeria, life, I always say it, life doesn't really have meaning and value in Nigeria. I think that's just what underpins all this kind of nasty behavior.
Thank you, Fiona. You guys are making it sound it's getting emotional hearing how it sounds, you know. Raji, if Wahab can be on this program, we'd like to hear him talk to Nigerians in diaspora, the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources. I know you probably could push some strings there.
We'll see about that.
Tokumba Wahab. Yes, let him come and tell that Nigerians in diaspora are really worried, seeing their families being treated like I mean, not even like what's that word? Asylum seekers. You know, it's worse. They are worse than asylum seekers.
In their own countries.
In their own country. You know, in your own father's land. I mean, where else?
You know.
George,
listen to this. You see, this type of presidential political system that we have, we need to look into it seriously. That's number one. Number two, do not forget what happened in Niger. Don't forget what happened in some of these other countries. It is because of this type of situation where these people have the impetus and don't caring attitude in dealing with the nation, and then all of a sudden, a group of young people will just say, thus far no further, we're not going to take this anymore. Because this is exactly how it happens. Because you feel like you're becoming a demigod, you can do whatever because nobody can touch you. That's exactly how young people can rise up one day and take over the government. And we're here crying out, please, listen to the cry of the people. Please listen to the cry of the people. They're dying daily. They're crying over decisions being made without human compassion. They don't want to listen to this. Until tomorrow, everybody will start crying, oh, what happened? These are the stages of where people can come to the place where they are so frustrated, and then all of a sudden a group of people will just come and say, if we die, we die. We're going to take over. So Nigeria better pay attention, because these things that are happening under this government is bringing people to the place of a point of no return, where one day something will happen in that nation. We don't want it to happen. The government, you better be careful. Put human face and human compassion on decisions you're making from state to state and in the federal government as a whole. Because you guys have taken it so long ago, and we're just saying this. You are saying it.
Sorry, Sir George.
Thank you, George.
I feel you. Sir George, I feel you. But I don't think it's ever going to happen in Nigeria. I think Nigeria's case is upside down. What caused the first coup? What caused the first coup in 1966? It's like smacking somebody's hands now, because from the first coup, the next coup the situation was worse. The next coup the situation was worse, and the government after every coup is worse than the previous. And the people are not doing anything. What caused rearrangement in Liberia was the price of a cup of rice. Price a cup of rice, and it changed the history of Liberia. Now we are buying fuel at 1,200 naira per liter,
and nobody.
And all of us are just sitting there and bearing it. There's something wrong with the mentality of Nigerians.
It's terrible.
This country is upside down.
Ladies, let's look into more terrible situations now. On Friday, we missed out something here. Those of us that came, Friday actually was a World Press Day. Friday, the 3rd of May, World Press Day. Now, it's a United Nations Assembly that has declared that 3rd of May of every year to be the World Press Day. Now, I was called in during the week. Some press people from Nigeria added me to the program, and what we are all unitedly talking about is
my network.
Can you hear me? What we're all,
yes, we can.
Talking about is something very serious, and that is a call to action to address environmental pollution in Nigeria. Gentlemen, it is in our power, you guys in diaspora, we in this platform, to really ring this bell and shout, make the battle cry. They've destroyed our country. Oil producing companies, Ajip, Enel, Shell, and all of them, Halliburton, all those names, they've spoiled the south of Nigeria has been destroyed because of oil, because of crude oil. So we are all coming to talk about this. I got good information that Shell has ruined people's farms and fisheries. Locals want Shell to pay compensation before anything. Shell has destroyed people's farmland. The farmland of a lot of towns and villages, communities, regions in the south of Nigeria have been locked with oil, contaminating the crops, exposing people to high level of heavy metals like lead and mercury. Now, we need to talk about this. It's serious. George, is really serious. Children are dying of kwashiorkor, no food, because their farmland has been destroyed. So this is a different situation again, entirely in Nigeria. And many people are not talking about this. They are getting away with it. The oil companies are getting away with this. And mind you, listen, guys, these oil companies are all European and Western companies. American. And they have ethics. They will have their working ethics. They don't do this in other places. You don't come to another man's country, even though you're coming to drill oil, you suck the ground and destroy the place and go. So let's talk about this. George, I want you to talk this too, because you're in Canada where they drill oil, and I know it's not like this. So let's talk. George,
it is not. If there is any place that could actually be like what's happening in Nigeria, is in Canada, because what we have is oil sands. So which oil sands, which you have to dig bring the sand and separate the oil from the sand, but yet they have a system whereby there is no pollution. It is all being done, with environmental sensitivity to it. But in Nigeria is a place where, there is, even the government we might have a constitution that actually is supposed to prevent these things from happening. And some of these countries, like you say, that is from the foreign land, they come into our country just the same way you saw what was happening when it comes to some of these flights that are taken up from Nigeria. They have the impetus to increase their own prices, regardless. We saw what happened recently because APs just came into the scene and was able to bring the price down. That's exactly the same thing that is happening in most of these other places. When they cry out, they will take the military and go there and wipe out thousands of people unnecessarily. But people are dying, but nobody is recording nothing. Nobody is complaining. And the people that are on top, the leaders in these communities, are being bribed daily to shut up so that they will make noise. They won't make noise anymore. So enough is enough. All we are saying is let the government rise up and take charge and do what it's supposed to do. Instead of just demolishing houses and destroying places, our environment is being completely, messed up, and nobody's saying anything. They need to wake up. They need to wake up and put charge upon these companies that are coming into Nigeria, so that they can actually, have them to be the ones that will, pay for, cleaning up the environment. If you destroy their lands, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to farm anymore. If you destroy their waters, fishery, and all those things that they use their water to, you can go there and get some fish. It's all going to be gone, and it is gone.
It is gone. Fiona,
yeah.
Fiona, you are from the south of Nigeria, and part of that your state is also this rich deposited state where you have the crude oil coming. Now, the information I got, Fiona, from many of your journalists, media people from that part of Nigeria, is they've destroyed the ecosystem. They've destroyed the farms. They've destroyed everything. People are exposed to high level of metals like chromium, lead, and mercury, and they are dying. Fiona, as a Nigerian from that part, and now you're here, what's your take on this? How do we start? How do we get this?
So it is true that that these things are happening is not false. Some of these cases have actually been in court with some of these oil companies for years. I even know of some court cases that have actually been won in the region, and the sort of amounts we're talking about that have been scheduled for payout are huge. But I also know that that money is not going to get to the people, because I've been privy to conversations when people are discussing, I mean, we're talking real money. And I realize that even at the times where Nigerians are responsible, just like we were during the slave trade for selling our brethren, we're also partially responsible for this situation. And it's because of money. Because there are people that are receiving money, I don't care what anybody tells me, from these oil companies. The oil companies themselves also are making sure that the cases drag on and on and on. There was a ruling 2022, I think it was, here in England. People flew in for that. I know completely, they flew in. It was ruled in their favor, this, that, the other. I know the amount of money that was supposed to be disbursed. Until today, that money has not come. So, the people are pushing, people are pushing for litigation. People are pushing because it's devastation that's happening there. But the truth of the matter is that even when that money comes, what will happen is that the people on ground, they'll get peanuts, and the big boys, the people that currently dredge oil, the people that currently bunker oil, are the ones that are still going to get that money in the end. Sorry, that's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. Thank you very much. It's devastation in a very large scale. Irma, you are also from an oil producing state, and it's all over, everywhere. Vast areas of all those places have been destroyed. The ecosystem have been destroyed. Pollution, environmental pollution, everything has been destroyed. How will you address this? If you were to begin to seek solution, how will you begin? Irma?
I would say post-colonialism is just a political definition. It has not really ended. Like, it's not happening in Nigeria. There's nothing. I think we are still in the colonial era where the colonial masters are still doing what they do, like coming to they rip the land and take things, and they don't care about the people. They just take things. It's still happening in Nigeria. I'm from I'm based in Port Harcourt. That's where my family are based, and I know how it is. The air we breathe, there is very bad, very toxic. I remember after cleaning the house, as you're going in, coming out, you see dust, and that dust is not natural dust. That's from the oil and everything everyone has been affected. So yes, is that bad? Is that really bad, Massive Mark? I think we still have the government that are in charge of these things, that are still taking money from these people. There are no laid down rules. There are no laid down rules for them to work on. You're breeding oil from this place. This is what you should do. Don't be careless about it. I remember last time where a plane was flying from, I don't know where it was flying from, to dig oil in a place, even when it was not allowed. So you can see that there are people in the government that are actually encouraging this.
Yes.
They are encouraging this.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Raji,
yes.
What we had also is that sustainable development cannot really move in Niger Delta because of all of this, because a lot of places have been destroyed. How do you, what's your take on that?
Now, the devastation ongoing in the Niger Delta is probably because of our government. We have never had any government that is people-oriented. When Obasanjo was living in 1978, 79, there was a gas reinjection decree. By the time he came back, Nigeria was still flaring gas. Globally, Nigeria flares more than 50% of gas. Globally, because Nigeria is actually a gas island. We keep on, if you fly over the Niger Delta at night, you'll be confused whether it is day or night. It is government policy. And what the government has done in connivance with the oil companies is to destroy every Niger Delta personnel who has the confidence and the courage to stand up against the oppression. That's what they did to Ken Saro-Wiwa, and that's what they did to as many of them as they could not buy. They eliminated. If Niger Delta were not in a minority area, I don't think what is happening there could have happened. If oil had been discovered in the north, in that majority area of the north of the Hausa land, or in the west or Yoruba land, none of those nonsense going on will have happened, will have been allowed to happen. We cannot
Thank you
devastate
very
our
much.
land. It's because they are in the minority areas.
All right, gentlemen, a few seconds, we'll be back.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes is Africans in diaspora and back home leading English news network. One of the most respected and trusted sources for news updates on current affairs as it affects global Africa.
Yes, you're back. Between the lines. Today, the 6th of May, 2024. Guys, it's been Nigerian gist, because a lot is happening and there's still more to talk. We need to talk about this. This one adds up to the earlier discussion too. Nigeria has a problem of litter, problem of people littering everywhere with plastic bags, bottles, surgical face masks, all kind of dirty things, chewing gum, puff, all
pure water bags,
peanuts. Gentlemen, let's talk about this because it bothers us. We some those of us are out. We see how cleanliness adds up to progress. I mean, an environment that is clean brings in fresh air. Every day I hear people have malaria, fever, all these sicknesses. Believe me, it's as a result of the dirty environment. Guys, let's talk. Raji, let's start with you. Nigeria is everywhere is littered with dirt. Lagos, I grew up around Upebi, Allen, Maryland, Ikeja, all these places. When I see pictures of all those places today, I say, what is happening? Everywhere is like doghouse. Raji, can you help us make a sense of all this dirt? A young boy has started a movement where he says, pick the dirt, he's picking the dirt. But will that thing go far? We need complete change of mindset. The people need to really understand that they need to be clean conscious. I mean, it's from the brain. We lick orange and throw on the floor. We chew chewing gum, throw on the floor. Everybody just move. Oh, Yaleja, Yalata, Yaleron. Everybody's crazy. Tell us, Raji.
It all stems from the training that we get at home and in school as children. I remember going through school. Although I went to night school, I know how we're trained to keep our environment clean. Cleanliness was said to be next to godliness. Mm-hmm. And if cleanliness is next to godliness and you want to be godly, you definitely, after being godly, want to be clean. You know? Let me commend Lagos State for their trying with that, in most areas with their lawman. They are really trying. And even though their charges keep going up, but I don't want to talk about my state in Osun State. If you go to a typical Osun State market, you'll be sad. You'll be sad. And then there are very many homes too that do not have the proper latrines, and therefore defecation can be open. And in fact, it's sometimes taken as a habit when you go out into the environment, and then as you are defecating openly, you can get some fresh air blowing you and all those things. But we need to change. We need to change our perspective. It has to start from home.
Raji,
it has to start from home. Yes.
Now, listen to this again, gentlemen. It's been said that about 119 million tons of waste is generated every day in Nigeria. But do you know something? Do you know that waste is also could be process. It's something that's energy there. It could be processed for electricity, for water pump, so many things, but we're not thinking like this. Now we're littering the whole place. No. And we are not using them. Do you know that? Let me give you a small example. I hope I'm not talking much, but it's a passion tonight, Do you know that here in Western Europe, in Italy, for example, the big malls, shopping malls, in the winter, because it's very cold, and you can't sustain the payments, So what these malls do is they gather waste. Beneath those big malls in Europe, in Italy, for example, are big chimneys, burning spots where waste are being burned, and is now converted into heater.
Yes, I mentioned the Lagos State. Lagos State actually has a compost dump where they dump all those perishable waste, and they are converting them into fertilizer. They have a huge. Lagos is actually trying. Trying.
We need to see more. George, did you hear what we're saying?
Yes, I did.
Nigeria is dirty. Lagos State is trying, but it's still dirty. I see dirt on the streets. Pepi, Allen, I see dirt everywhere, oranges and chewing gum and everything on the ground. George, what way do we think we could bring in to really make our country look neat?
First of all, is to reintroduce Idi Abo's doctrine.
Fiona said this.
This is it. Because if we Nigerians they need active leadership. You see, what we are experiencing right now is like a lackadaisical attitude from top to bottom. A dead fish, when it starts thinking from the head. If Idi Abo, regardless, could institute a law, I came back to Nigeria and I could not believe what I saw. And this was like only 1 month after that law was passed. On Saturdays, people come out to clean. And, it came into their own belief system and their mentality that, even to throw trash on the floor, on the ground, your conscience will begin to bother you. Here I'm in Canada. I will hold on to my trash throw it at where it's supposed to be, because it's a mentality. A lot of people are just, you allow them because nobody cares. So that's one thing that needs to be reinstituted. So to change people over this orientation. It's so sad.
Thank you very much. Thank you, George.
And like what you said, in Atlanta, Georgia, let me tell you a quick story. In Atlanta, Georgia, many years ago, a man who came from, one of these countries could not find a job. You know what he did? He was made a multi-millionaire through trash by collecting trash and converting it into different kinds of things, plastics and all that kind of stuff. So, Nigeria, we are crying about no job, this. We have so many infrastructure, so many opportunities in our own country where we can use trash to make money. Like what you just mentioned.
Because we generate lots of it.
We generate too much of it.
We'll come to you, Fiona, because I know you said a lot about this earlier with me. Iema, give us one solution to this thing. Trash everywhere. I know Port Harcourt, I said in Port Harcourt is worth something. Port Harcourt is a beautiful city back in the days. But when people are throwing everything on the ground, everybody's just mad, moving, paper, pepper, onions, everything is on the ground.
Like you said, and every other person that said what was in my mind actually. One, that waste is business is actually money. That's one. And two, I would like to know what Donald Duke did in Cross River. I don't know if the Cross River I know before. Cross River was very neat. Everybody was so conscious of not throwing things, even spitting on the street. They were so conscious. What was that thing that he did? I don't know what he did. That's two. And three, I think sorry, I think yes, we should ask what they did, and also we should introduce this system where they say one trash you get 1 naira, two trash you get this. I think it only make we cannot force humans are like people you cannot really force to behave a certain way. You have to introduce something like the way we are now. Things people need to be enticed. People need to be enticed because we've outgrown that stage where we want to learn. Like I'm a kindergarten teacher here. I see what they do. Their kids, the way they teach them from very young age to do certain things, even how to eat, even how to sit. Like they grow in them. I see a kid eating better than I do. Like the way they eat, they will not enter the place. I'm like, how are they doing this? And I cannot do that. So it's something that they've inculcated in them from young age. So since Nigerians, it's going to be very difficult for us. I think one we introduce into us educational system from young age, and for those that are outgrown that stage, we should introduce money because that's what I will entice Nigerians. If you have trash, put it here and take 1 naira. Put it here. People will be forced to take trash there, and by that we're not littering the environment, and that will be turned to that will be turned to money or like the generic.
Nice. That's actually how they do. That's how they do in Germany. In Germany, when you return bottles, some items, you get something. You get cash. Nice.
Yes, Master Mark, do you know that? Do you know that I've joined business meetings where people were actually talking about waste in Lagos, how to come to Lagos and make money from waste. And what Turkish people here have joined that meetings. And we were thinking of how to come here to bring young people to make money in Lagos. So you can see that waste is actually a lot of money. And people are even thinking of coming to make that money there in Lagos. So I wonder why we are not seeing that in Nigeria. Though we are seeing, but I think our politicians are more interested
Fiona,
in
let's round up with you. Thank you very much, Emma. You put it well. Fiona, let's round up with you. You are a Lagos girl, I know. I don't know how you feel seeing some of the places you grew up and how everywhere is littered, you know. I mean, we can do better.
So one of the scourges in Nigeria is this whole pure water thing. So it's the way people. So pure water is supposed to be like a refreshment, but when people are hot, they open the packet, they throw it in their head, and the literal next movement is the thing goes on the floor. So I mean, I think together with the people that produce the water, they also need to have a responsibility for that particular kind of waste, because obviously that gets into the waterways, it affects the ecosystem, all that. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing, I think speaking to what everybody has said, is that we have, I think, a 75% youth population. And out of that 75%, we've got a good number of people that are unemployed. If we can tap into the monetization of this waste, then I think that in itself will just create by osmosis a cleaner environment, you know. And I think thirdly, what Sir George said is that Nigerians don't respond well to people speaking to them kindly and really nicely and appealing to them. They don't understand all those things. They just like people to just treat them really badly for them to respond for some reason. Because what he said is true. You know, then nobody would dare cross the Ikorodu Road. Nobody, you know, people just wouldn't do it. And that was just the fear of anybody getting hold of them was the beginning of that. With employed at once could bring about a change, you know, and with time, if it's continuous, you know, because I know on Thursday we have market environmental, you know, and, you know, they clean the environment and everything. But the thing is, we have waterways full of all these bags, bottles, black Santana bags, or whatever they're called. So
I want to say something, Fiona. Fiona, I to add to what you're saying. What is happening with spraying of money in Nigeria? Did it not change? When the law came out and they started arresting people, did it not change?
Sure.
Okay. All of a sudden, they're having an alternative. Yes, they're having alternative ways of spraying money so that it will not fall on the ground. That's exactly what we need, active leadership.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. And then not only that, we have to be able to separate the plastics, the recyclables, and the non-recyclables.
Non-recyclables. Sure.
If we're able to do that, then we take the non-recyclables and use it for manure. for fertilization.
Okay.
And then the recyclables, they put it together, for compost, and then they put it together and recycle it into something. Do you know somebody was just recently, I saw it on YouTube, who is actually using the waste that comes out of crude oil to develop plastic for the roads. This tire that we see, the tire is a lot of money. They gather it together, they put it together, they use it now. Instead of you using concrete in your compound, you can use those plastic things to cover the ground and use it to pavement. So these are constructive ways of changing things so that at least our nation can look good. When foreigners come in town, I was in Uyo, I was telling, Fiona was asking me, if you were to move to Nigeria, where would you consider? I said, number one, Abuja. Number two is Lagos. And if all fails, I'm going to Uyo. And then in Nyema, I just said it now. When I visited Uyo a few times, that was my resting place during the political time. The place was one of the cleanest cities I've ever seen. Uyo. And that was from Donald Duke. So what we are doing is just we're putting our eyes away. If we bring make it a law. If you see your neighbor putting trash on the floor, report them. You see, everybody will be scared of doing that. But then the government need to take charge by bringing some of these containers where people can now separate from recyclables and non-recyclable items. So when people are not doing it, if I can show you the ground right now where we are, you will see how clean every place is. Why is that? Because both the government and the people are participating.
Straight up.
Especially children. When children see you put thing on the ground, they will say, sir, you drop that thing over there. Children, because they're being taught from school.
So like Yema said, the schools also, Nigerian schools should be teaching cleanliness, littering the ground and all this. It should be enforced. They should make it a syllabus, a part of what the students are taught. Gentlemen, listen, we've done, so you guys have been, today has been a little bit more, we came out a little bit more forceful because these things have to be said. I will be talking more on this, guys. These are issues that we need to look into. Sometimes because they are there in Nigeria, and sometimes they are blinded from these things. So we are outside. We are still Nigerians, but we see these things and we can talk about it. So thank you all for talking. Raji, thank you for bringing us those updates. You said, lawman, everything, but we need to see more action. So tell the lawman people if they want to come to talk to the Nigerians in diaspora. Let's sell some ideas to them. Look at what Yema said. Look, George. Look, Fiona. And I'm saying it here too. My country, they use waste to power their gas, their heater. Can you imagine? So let's give them some ideas too with what we tell them. And that is how it has been today. Viewers, thank you for tuning in. Between the Lines, Monday, SSM News Update. And we've checked out a lot of lines. Behind us too are lines. If you don't see them, we have lines flying in between our back. So guys, till we come again next week, thank you all for coming. Thank you, George. You were doing your thing, but you still took our time to be with us. We appreciate that. I have to. Yes. Thank you. Yema, thank you for coming. Yema, there's something.
I have a message for Fiona when we go to the backstage.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay. I have something to say to you, Sir George, actually.
All right, then. So until we come again, guys, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes is Africans in diaspora and back home leading English news network. One of the most respected and trusted sources for news updates on current affairs as it affects global Africa.